This is 1000% unacceptable. The other day, when the Dallas Mavericks lost in the second round of the play-in tournament to the Memphis Grizzlies, Mark Stein went to Twitter and put out a lengthy Twitter thread of more information and details of what was going on behind the scenes with our medical staff, specifically around Derrick Lively and his foot fracture. But since then, we've gotten more information about Luka Doncic and his injuries, more information about Derrick Lively, as well as our training staff. And this information came out the day of Nico Harrison's press conference, where he really didn't give us any good information or good answers. But in this video, we're going to go over exactly what was being released that same day before the press conference, how bad and how irresponsible have things really been for the Dallas Mavericks on the medical side, and what needs to happen next year so we don't get a repeat of that. But how's it going, everybody? My name is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing you the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we get started with today's video, we are currently sitting at 20,388 subscribers. Just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support on this channel. And even though it's the off season, it's not my off season. We're still going to be dropping videos on every little thing that comes up between now and October, whenever the season begins. So if you don't want to miss out on a single thing that happens with your Dallas Mavericks, make sure you subscribe, and I'd appreciate it greatly. But the Dallas Mavericks have been dealing with health issues all season long. It's a reoccurring theme that just couldn't just get away from us. We thought that we were in the clear early January, but then more players got hurt, and then we traded for players that were also hurt, and then we ended the season with more hurt players. It has been a complete and utter mess. And a lot of fans earlier in the season pointed out how, well, we did have Casey Smith a few years ago, who was one of the best in the league. Why would we get rid of Casey Smith if there really wasn't an issue? And a lot of people were like, it's not that big of a deal. Teams change their staff all the time. But with all these injuries and the fact that the Dallas Mavericks are the #1 most impacted team due to injuries, it calls for a reason to kind of investigate, look a little bit deeper, find the reasons why we were dealing with so many injuries. Is it just because of bad luck and is part of the game? Was it because of just irresponsibility from our training staff, or the lack of education from the training staff when it comes to helping these players condition and get ready to get back to action after they have an injury? But it was reported just the other day on what was going on with Luka Doncic and Nico Harrison and the training staff dealing with injuries. And the little report came out saying Harrison griped that Doncic was holding the team hostage, sources said. Doncic's camp argued that he was better off having around-the-clock access to the Mavs practice facility than traveling with the team. It pointed out that Doncic was doing 2-a-day multi-hour basketball workouts, which wouldn't be possible with court time difficult to book on the road. He also could utilize the weight room and the high-tech medical equipment at his convenience, which isn't the case in other teams' arenas and hotels. Harrison countered, insisting that Doncic needed to scrimmage. Doncic's camp, in response, said he'd be happy to practice with the G League Texas Legends in Frisco, a Dallas suburb. So that right there contradicts a lot of what we were told. We were told that Luka just didn't take his conditioning serious, that he always just came in just out of shape. And I'm not here to tell you whether that's true or not. The reports are what they are. But if we're also going to take this, which came from Tim McMahon, a trusted source, whether you like him or not, shows that this contradicts that Luka was trying to take care of his body. Yes, he had injuries, probably the most injuries in one season of his entire career so far, and he wanted to take it serious. So instead of joining the team on a 5-game road trip where you don't have the best access and you're trying to recover, yeah, stay back, get all the help you need, join us back when you're ready. So the whole back and forth between Nico wanting him to join the team versus Luka wanting to stay back and just recover in his own way is very telling of Nico Harrison's just thirst for power and his drive and want to just be in control at all times. And with that, it can be very, not immature, but very irresponsible, I think is the better word to describe that. Because these injuries weren't really the most serious injuries, but they were reoccurring injuries. We had a lot of players with ankle sprains all season long. Luka Doncic is dealing with his wrist and then his calf, and dealing with all of his knick-knack little ticky-tacky injuries. You want to take them serious. You want to make sure they're getting the right amount of time to rest and recover, and you also don't want to rush them back. Towards the end of the season, one of PJ Washington's many ankle sprains, he even said himself, I think I came back a little bit too soon, which now, looking back, is very telling of this Dallas Mavericks organization, their training staff, medical staff, and who they have in charge. But we did find out that the sides also drastically disagreed on the timetable for Doncic's return after receiving the MRI results. Billsboro believed Doncic could be back in 2 or 3 weeks, sources said, while Doncic's team adamantly stated that he needed to sit out 6 weeks. They got their way, and a target return date was set for February 8th home game against the Houston Rockets. That deepened the divide, a source said. So, That right there. Luka and his team wanted to wait. They wanted to have more time to rest and recover. No point in rushing back from an injury. I think we can all agree that's not what you want from your best player, to rush them back. But Nico wanted it his way. He said, no, 2 or 3 weeks, you're back. 2 or 3 weeks compared to 6 weeks. And even though they had a date to return February 8th, Luka didn't even come back on that date. He came back maybe a few days later. I know he missed the first game or two while he was in LA, so he still needed time. Why not give him time? Why not just give these guys what they need? It's irresponsible to them as basketball players, as this could affect their careers and the people that depend on them, like their families. But this is also irresponsible to them as people. If anybody were to deal with a major injury due to our medical staff being very inadequate and just rushing them back, could alter their lives in the way that they handle things. Dirk has said himself, he can't even go out there and run around and play soccer with his kids because he's all banged up. And of course, wear and tear comes with being a professional athlete. But you don't want to be irresponsible. You don't want to risk a major injury just because you want to rush them back sooner because you don't know what you're doing. They're more than just players. They're more than just assets. They are people too, and you got to take that into account. But one name that came up a lot in all these reports was Billsboro. Billsboro. Well, who is he? Well, I'm going to tell you exactly who he is. He's a glorified cheerleader, one team source said, but Nico clearly wanted cheerleader energy. According to the National Strength Coaches Association database, Belton does not have either of the certifications from the association that are required for NBA strength coaches. Per Article 22 of the Collective's Bargaining Agreement, the CBA states that an individual hired as a head strength and conditioning coach must have at least 3 years of experience since receiving these certifications. An NBA spokesman said the league office was aware that Belton lacked the required certifications, but that the league once accepted his certifications from the College Strength and Conditioning Coaches Association on a temporary basis, with the exception he would receive his NSCA certifications immediately after the season. So I'm sorry, there's Billsboro, and there's also Belton. Belton, who is working alongside Billsboro, the two men appointed by Nico, who were supposed to replace Casey Smith. One of them isn't even certified to be a head strength coach and conditioning coach. So you're telling me that all these injuries, all the sprained ankles, all the calf strains, all these little injuries that have been plaguing this team is because we have somebody in charge who is not certified to be in this position, who's probably never held this position. It said it in that report that the NBA said, yes, on a temporary basis, you can fill this role, but then you got to get your certifications, which is totally fine. If the NBA will allow it, cool. Why not hire somebody to replace Casey Smith that actually has the certifications, that's actually certified to be in this position, to be in charge of these players' health and their conditioning and their ability to play and still function as a human being, not just a basketball player? Why wouldn't you replace him with someone that was the most certified individual, who's dang near a doctor pretty much, should have replaced Casey Smith? But the report said it right here. This is why he hired him. He's a glorified cheerleader. And that is not what a championship team needs. That will not win you a championship. Defense wins championships, but like I've been saying, health also can win championships. And if the people in charge of the health of your team are glorified cheerleaders who does not have either of the certifications from the association that are required for NBA strength coaches, why are you in this position? Just further proves the point that Nico Harrison wants people that are yes men, people that are going to do what he says, that are not going to ask too many questions, and it's very irresponsible, it's reckless, and it could lead to a lot of other problems. Problems that were seen with Derrick Lively and the issue that he had with his foot fracture. If we take a look at this report, I try to make it bigger, but I'll read it off to you guys. Derrick Lively II, a 21-year-old center who projected as a long-term cornerstone, was listed as questionable on January 20th because of a right ankle sprain after sitting out the previous 2 games. Under Belton's supervision, the man with no certifications, Lively went through an intense return-to-play workout before sitting out again that night. The plan was for Lively to play at home 2 nights later against the Timberwolves. But Billsboro, the other doctor who does actually have certifications, I misspoke, Billsboro knows what he's doing. But Billsboro had concerns, prompting him to send Lively for a CT scan. It revealed a stress fracture in his right ankle that sidelined the center for the next 2.5 months. Somebody should be fired for that, a team source said. It was a symptom of a much larger problem, multiple team sources said. That right there is highly, highly irresponsible. The fact that you first ruled a foot fracture a ankle sprain, so you misdiagnostic of this injury. You didn't even get a scan. You had Derrick Lively doing a full, intense return to play workout with a foot fracture. Let's say the fracture gets worse. Let's say it's now season ending. He needs surgery. He'll never be able to walk or run normal like he used to. He's only 21 years old. This is the guy. Nico Harrison has put people like Belton, who should not be in this position. First, he told Luka, 2-3 weeks in your back. They're like, no, 6 weeks. You got Derrick Lively with a foot fracture. Nah, it's an ankle sprain. Go and do an intense full return to play workout. If it wasn't for Billsboro being there, arguing with Belton the entire season, I bet, to get these guys the proper medical attention, something worse could have happened. We could have seen Derrick Lively out for the full season. Part of me feels like this could be linked to Anthony Davis and the fact that maybe they rushed him back. I mean, PJ Washington already said earlier in the season with his ankle sprains, maybe they rushed me back. I came back too soon. This cannot repeat next season. We cannot have this happen again next season. Everybody has said it. The Dallas Mavericks are a very good team on paper if healthy or when healthy. We can't get healthy if we don't have the right people in charge. Of course, Nico Harrison isn't the person that's checking on these players. He's not a part of the medical staff, but Nico Harrison is responsible for who is in that medical staff. And everything was good when we had Casey Smith. Were there still injuries? Yes, it's part of basketball. It's part of sports. Injuries do happen. But as long as you have people that are competent and certified, when injuries happen, you're like, that's just what it is. But when you've got people like Belton, who really should not be in that position, who has the same certifications as I do to be a head NBA conditioning coach, then we have some questions. But speaking of Casey Smith, we also got details highlighting how he was let go. And honestly, it's in one of the most messed up ways that I've ever seen. It really does question if Nico Harrison even has a heart as a person. But the report did state, a few days after returning to Dallas Love Field from the Hall of Fame event, when the franchise that had endured a frustrating losing season was on a high from honoring Dirk, Harrison informed Smith that they needed to meet. Smith replied that it wasn't possible to meet in person. He had gone to his hometown in Ohio to be at the side of his gravely ill mother in the final weeks of her life. Harrison set up a video conference meeting instead, and that's when Casey Smith was fired. While he was out of state, he wasn't in Dallas, he was in Ohio, visiting his sick mother who did not have much more time to live. Nico set up a Zoom call and fired him. It's one thing if you want to change the direction of the team, if you want to get people that you want to have a personalized personnel, not the old guard, you want the new guard, you want the Nico staff. I totally get it. But there's two things you should probably do. One, hire people who are certified and qualified for these positions. And two, when you do fire some of these people that you want to replace, do it with some dignity. Not over a Zoom call when he's visiting his dying mom. That is not classy at all and shows that the Dallas Mavericks organization, you are a reflection of the Dallas Mavericks organization. When we go out and try to get free agents, when we try to hire better qualified individuals and they hear how you fired Casey Smith when he was in Ohio visiting his dying mom on a Zoom call, you have no heart. You, as a person and a human being, you have no heart. I understand it's a business. It can be cutthroat. You got to make the tough decisions, but you could do it with a little bit of class. And again, if we had fired Casey Smith for someone even better, we're not even having this conversation. But it's the fact that Nico Harrison, time and time again, is showing us his true colors as an individual. I don't think that his days in Dallas are going to be long. I feel like something's going to have to change, especially if we have the same issues next year like we did this year. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you think that we need a new GM, a new training staff, a new medical staff? Or do you think that this is just what happened next year? It'll be better. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks for making this far to the video. Make sure to check out our Twitter and Discord, as well as Spotify, which is in the description box below. But till next time, y'all take care. Drink water. Peace.